allow your loyalty for them trump your self-respect. So I was literally just saying this to myself. I was having a conversation with God because a situation had happened where I was part of an organization, and from very early on, other people were dropping out of the organization. Other people wanted nothing to do with it, and I saw the signs, I saw the red flags, but I had committed myself to a executive position within the organization, and I'm somebody of integrity. I'm somebody who likes to keep my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I see it all the way through. And so though there was a time specifically where I wanted to leave the organization like so many other people had done, and I wanted to back out, not only was my commitment to the position that I was in causing me to stay, but also the fact that the executive position that I was in, I was doing it with a partner. I had somebody else who was doing it with me, and I didn't want to let her down or leave her hanging, because I know that if I were her in her position, I wouldn't want my partner to leave me, because we held a very high position within the organization. We did a lot. Like, if it wasn't for us, a lot of things wouldn't have happened. And so I endured, and I stayed in this organization, and I continued to do fundraisers for this organization, and I continued to give myself to this organization. And recently we had done another fundraiser, and the people organizing it, their vibes have always been off. They have never really been pleasant people, but I stuck to it because I felt like I had to be loyal, because I committed myself to it. And I feel like there's two ways to this. If you do commit yourself to something, it is important to be a person of integrity and see your commitment all the way through. Some of us give up too quickly, but some of us don't give up quick enough. And I feel like I'm definitely that person who thinks that every situation needs to be seen through, and sometimes the first red flag was enough to get us to leave. And you leaving isn't always you giving up. Sometimes you have to leave in the name of giving up in order to honor yourself, to honor your commitments, to honor just to have some respect for yourself. Self-respect is something that I'm still very much learning, because self-respect goes beyond what we imagine when we say self-respect, right? Self-respect is knowing when to back out. Self-respect is knowing when to let go and move on. Self-respect is knowing when to keep your word to yourself. And so I've struggled for so long, and this just goes hand in hand with the fact that I struggle so much with people pleasing, is that I've struggled for so long to be able to have enough respect for myself to know when to leave a situation, a person, or a thing, right? And so back to the story, a situation happened, and I was like, yeah, it's the principle for me. This is over. Like, I can't continue to serve this group. And then another event happened, and I'm like, okay, this is my last event. I cannot continue to serve this group. And this event just was completely insufferable. Like, I left so enraged. And a little bit about my past, I used to struggle with severe anger issues, and God delivered me from it. And it's actually miraculous how he did it, because I used to be the most angry person you'll ever meet. Like, I would blow up in a second, and I haven't gotten angry like that for years. I haven't blown up for years. I have very good emotional regulation, and so this event triggered something in me to where I just felt pure anger and rage and frustration. And so, I took it to God, and I told God, like, this is how I'm feeling. I feel betrayed. I feel like I put in everything and get nothing back. I feel like I have to tell people how to treat me. Like, why do I always have to tell people how to treat me? Nobody tells me how to treat other people, and I still treat people with respect. Like, why is it everybody that I bump into, everything that I get myself involved with, I'm like teaching these things how to treat me, right? And so I was honest with him, and in that moment, I just didn't know what to do. I just wanted to complain. But then I ended up watching a YouTube sermon by Norris, and I'll link it down below, but it was just this random Tuesday talk, and he was dissecting a Bible verse, and that, just listening to the Word of God and studying the Word of God, definitely helped me calm down. But after I was able to calm down and get out of my angry feelings, I told God, I said, listen, we're having one more meeting for this group, and in this meeting, I know the book of Ecclesiastes says there's a time to speak and there's a time to stay silent, and I feel like I've been silent for too long, but I don't want to speak out of a place of selfish ambition. I don't want to speak out of a place of conceitedness or pridefulness or ego. Like, I want to give these people a piece of my mind because somebody needs to, but if you don't want me to be that person, just let me know what you want me to do, because I'm planning, my plans are to go to that meeting and let these people know, right? And I still needed to attend this meeting. It was mandatory because I needed to get a refund for something. And so after I finished up my work, I was just laying on my bed and I go through my emails, and right then and there I got a refund for the thing that I was waiting for, and I didn't ask for it, none of that. And so that's how I know it was sent by God. And in that moment, he just told me, you got your refund, you got exactly what you were looking for, you got exactly what you were going to go to that meeting to go get. Drop it, it is over, it is done, you've done well. That is exactly what he said to me. He said, drop it, it is over, it is done, and you have done well. And so in that moment, he told me to choose the latter half, which is to be silent and to not speak, and that he will teach them the lessons that are necessary. But if I end up speaking, I will end up speaking from a place of pride. And so bottom line is, we have to be more, we can't pick something else at our expense. And that doesn't mean to be selfish. It means to love yourself. And there's a difference between loving yourself and being a lover of self. And if you'd like me to make a video on the difference between that, I will, but it's a huge difference between the two. And in order to love yourself, you need to have self-respect. And a common story of my life is, letting situations and people trump my respect for myself. And so in the name of loyalty, I felt so justified to stick this through. And this can mean anything. This could be a job, this could be a position, this could be a friendship. Apply this where you need to apply it in your life. But in this specific organization, I felt like it was my duty to stay loyal to people who weren't staying loyal to me. I felt like it was my duty to show up when these people weren't even showing up for themselves. You would think that I was the president of the organization, the way that I showed up and put my best foot forward. And I would love to hide that by saying, oh, well, that's just my integrity. Well, that's just, my commitment. But that was honestly my lack of self-respect. I stayed because I didn't respect myself enough. I saw people drop out of the organization like flies. I had the opportunity to leave when everybody else was leaving and choosing themselves. And instead, I chose to serve people and to serve a thing that doesn't serve me. And at some point in our lives, we have to get to the realization that we cannot continue to give all of ourselves. Takers don't have limits, right? And so we always need to give from the overflow of our cup. But if we find that we're at a deficit and we can no longer give anymore, loyalty doesn't matter anymore. Staying committed doesn't matter anymore. If literally our cup is hurting, you cannot be the best version of yourself. You cannot show up as the best version of yourself without having your cup be filled to the overflowing, right? And so when we find ourselves at a deficit, we need to respect ourselves enough, respect our spiritual journey enough, respect our bodies enough, and respect ourselves enough to say, this is great, I committed to this, but I just need a break. Or this is great, I committed to this, but this is no longer serving me. And when we say stuff like this is no longer serving me, it doesn't mean everything has to be for my benefit, but it just means this no longer has any reason to be attached to me or my journey, right? Sometimes you're attached to something because God calls you to give. Sometimes you're attached to something because God calls you to receive. But if you are not giving nor are you receiving, or if you're giving too much and not receiving enough, or if maybe you're receiving too much and you're not giving enough, then that which has become a blessing has now become a curse because it's no longer benefiting you in the way that God intended for it to do so. And so I just wanted to make this episode because I just recently went through this, and I don't know, maybe somebody else is struggling with this, but my message to you is to not allow your need to be loyal and your it's really what it is dependency and looking for validation through these different external things. Do not allow your dependency and your loyalty to trump your self-respect. Do not let it override your self-respect, because at the end of the day, these things will run you dry and you'll be left alone with not even your dignity, because you've given that all away in the name of being loyal to something that is committed to not being loyal to you.